All right, let's go ahead and open up Education Advocates. As our school doors are opening across the state, we're going to jump right into item number 2, using our precious ESSER dollars, recognizing classroom teachers. So I'd like to introduce Kirk Smiley. And Kirk, if you would just share what Donors Choose is and how Montana is working on a campaign to support education that's closest to the student, which of course is in that classroom. So Kirk, if you would like to introduce yourself and your company and our process and our campaign, I'd be grateful.
All right. Thank you so much, Superintendent. And hi, everybody. I'm Kirk Smiley from Donors Choose. I'm the Managing Director of Government Partnerships and really excited to be here with you all today with the Superintendent and the OPI team to announce what's going to happen starting actually right now for every public school teacher in the state. Real quick before I share that big news, let me tell you a little bit more about Donors Choose. We are a charity where any public school teacher can create a project for resources they want in the classroom to help their students learn. So your teachers have been using us probably for 20 years on and off throughout the school year for different resource needs they might have, different ideas they have to take learning to the next level. But thanks to the superintendent and the state of Montana, we are going to be entering in a partnership where every one of your teachers will have the opportunity to tap into some of the state's ESSER funds to create one request per teacher for what they would most like in their classroom to help stem learning loss in subject areas specifically of math and of literacy. And so that is launching today thanks to a $1.5 million grant from OPI. So we are very excited to be able to use those funds to support your teachers. Now, what that means is your teachers, starting now, are able to go to the Donors Choose site. We have a special landing page for them where they can read all the details for how to participate in this campaign, exactly how to create a project, how to make sure it qualifies for this particular funding that's focused on literacy and math. And your teachers will follow through the process of writing a short essay for their project, of then getting a shopping cart where they're selecting the exact resources. And when we apply the state's funding, we will be shipping those resources to your schools where they become school property and should stay in the classroom in perpetuity for students to benefit from them. We also have a variety of tools to make sure district leaders know exactly what is going on. Oh, great. There's the page that has all the instructions that hopefully someone can maybe put the link in the chat, but you'll get more information from OPI, I'm sure, very, very soon with how to disseminate this to your teachers. But I forgot what I was saying now. Oh, we ship those resources to the school. We have a way of making sure district leaders can be in the loop and get data from us on what are your teachers asking for, what are we sending to your buildings, because you need to know that they're school property, along with your school leaders, with principals, to stay in the loop and seeing when one of your teachers creates one of these projects on the Donors Choose site, they'll be told, they'll get an email from us. So we have a way for you as district leaders to sign up for those tools. I'll put that in the chat in a second. But we're so excited for this campaign to launch now. Montana is officially our 10th state to do a campaign like this using pandemic relief funds. But some really, really exciting things we think are going to happen in Montana that haven't even happened in other states. And that's how we're going to be able to support more than 3,000 of your teachers with this funding, because it's $500 per project per teacher. And again, you can see all those details on the page that you see on your screen. But yeah, we're just thrilled, and thank you, Superintendent, for partnering with us on this. It is a great day today for Montana teachers and students, but this campaign should last a number of days. The sooner you tell your teachers, the better, so that they can participate. But yeah, we hope that to see the projects start rolling in and those resources start arriving in the classroom and the great learning that's going to happen as a result.
Excellent. Thank you so much. You can understand the excitement that Kirk has exhibited, as well as myself as a classroom teacher. What a gift this is. Press relief is going to go out as we speak to make sure that we have this. There are things that are in the chat as well. Would like to open it up for any questions anyone might have. And of course, you can reach to myself through Brian O'Leary as this project and this campaign goes underway. Any questions that anyone might have? Excellent. I know, Kirk, you were helpful last Wednesday. You were on with a couple superintendents as we initiated this understanding that school leaders can sign up for this, for data to recognize what is happening in their classrooms, to put that school mission and that district mission forward. So very excited for this partnership. Blessings to you, Kirk, and our relationship moving forward. And to all of our Montana public school teachers, we are so excited for you at this point. Reach to our website. Let's get ourselves going here with Donors Choose, and let's put our best foot forward as our classroom doors are opening across our state. So thank you, Kirk. Excellent. All right, let's move on. And it's in tangential with this as well. We've got Wendy, who has led the relationship with our public schools of the gift of the COVID monies. So Wendy, a little update that we have.
Thank you, Superintendent. So as we get ready to move forward into September, that is the closing period for ESSER. We are, our team is in the process of closing out with individual schools, walking through all the documentation so that as everything closes, we have a full picture of what the money has been spent on and are in compliance with everything going forward. We do need to recognize that in an 11-month period, all of those funds were allocated in ESSER 1, 2, and 3 to all the districts. And that's a lot of work that they've put in. And there may have been some staff changes. So as the ESSER team reaches out to each of the school districts, we are going back through all that documentation to look at consistency and make sure that the schools have all the documentation they need going forward. So lots of screenshotting that we're doing and emails back and forth to them. We currently have about 100 million that is still needing to be pulled out of eGrants. So it's a documentation system. eGrants is a grant management portal. And so that documentation we're also finalizing there. All of the funds in ESSER that goes to the schools, those have all been allocated to the schools. So the schools already have a budget for them. They've already identified what the funding will be used for. Again, it is an amendable grant. So districts are still processing a few changes as we go forward, but they're really looking at the final processing being just submitting to us cash requests for the funds that they've already spent out on the ESSER side of things. Also, the Office of Public Instruction has been granted the ability to do a waiver. So we have made a document. We're getting it ready to submit to the Department of Education for approval. We've had it posted on our website. And we did office hours last week with regards to public comment. We would ask that any of you who are on this Education Advocates webinar, if any of you are interested in giving comments, it's important to hear how you feel about that waiver. What we're going to be requesting in the waiver is that administrative funds that were allocated to OPI be able to be used going forward to continue the closeout process. The closeout process is not easy with 450 entities, just gathering everything and scheduling. So just from a time standpoint, if you do the math on that, we need beyond September. So we are asking the Department of Ed to give us a waiver on those administrative funds to continue the support to the schools and to be able to close things out in a smooth and consistent manner. I will put in the chat the email address if you could send a comment with regards to being in support of that or whatever your comments would be on the waiver. We would greatly appreciate that. The last thing we have is, although summer is closing and school is starting, we still have a few more summer school projects that are in the works and finishing up. We do have on our website stories about those. There've been some really creative things on the front of math, and just had a conversation last night with Eureka again in their tiny houses. So please encourage anybody who's interested to get a hold of us if they need some help in those finalizing of the documents for that grant. And I stand for any questions if anyone has any.
Perfect. Any questions for Wendy? Just a big shout out to our ESSER team here, led by Wendy. It's relationships. We know that in all of our communities with our rural and our urban public schools, for sure, that it is people that do the work. And Wendy and her relationships with new trustees, as well as new superintendents, new principals, as our doors open, it's paramount. So Wendy, thank you.
Thank
And
you,
all of our
Superintendent.
documents will be going out to you as well. And I want to move the agenda around a little bit. I have Deanne, who is our senior manager that deals with all the money. She's our checkbook. So Deanne, anything to add before we get into the 4-day school week with Dr. Clausen?
No, Wendy did a wonderful job of explaining the waiver. That was what we were making sure we had a time slot for her and I to do today under my time. I will just reiterate that the waiver is on our website. Wendy's put the email address for comments and support hopefully in the chat. And if you haven't been to the website to read what it does, it really is that simple, that it's taking the remaining funds and allowing us to use them for the closeout for all the data collection, the reporting, and paying the cash requests and that come from the school after, the final closeout documents, things like that.
Mhm.
So thank you, Wendy, for doing a nice job on that. I won't repeat everything you said.
Excellent. Any other questions that you might have on that waiver? Please use the message in the chat to go ahead and contact us for a positive extension so that we have the ability for Wendy's team to have relationships with schools to be able to do that. It's part of the process. And we just, as Montana, we're rule followers. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that that happens. So with that, Pam, you had a question? Okay, let's go ahead then. Dr. Clausen is here, and I don't think anybody really recognizes some of the research projects that the Office of Public Instruction has undertaken. And Robin has been with me through my 8-year term in a program that is dollars that are given from the federal government for a longitudinal data system. So Dr. Clausen, if you would like to go ahead, we have just got a little bit of information on 4-day school week. And I think it's important for us to recognize change within our customers that we serve and data that can be given from that unique change of a 4-day school week. So Robin, you have about 3 to 5 minutes. I know you would want to possibly take more. The information that you have, we can send out, and we'll have you on again for sure. So Dr. Clausen.
Yes, I'd like to say that the research at the SLDS, or betterwise known as the GEMS unit, has resulted in 6 peer-reviewed publications in the last year. And that includes in areas such as discussing about poverty measures, discussing about the early warning system. And most recently, we've been doing research into educator salary and educator turnover. So it's really ambitious what we're doing, and I'm glad we're getting things done. And one of the areas in which we have done research in is 4-day school weeks. And I'll have to say that our research is complemented by a research project out of the University of Montana, who is currently conducting on multiple levels an analysis since 2006 of the impact of 4-day schools. As you'll see, 4-day schools really peaked in 2 points in time. In school year 2017, there was a large increase from 2008 and 2009. And also, most recently, there's been a large increase since school year 2022 to 2024, with more schools jumping on the bandwagon. Now, this is the difference. Next slide, please. This is the difference from what we find with the U of M study, who's been looking across all those years. What I was looking at was mainly 2022 and 2023 data presented here on attendance. And what we do find is that although it is not significant, that means that the difference is meaningful. There are statistically meaningful. There are differences between 4-day schools and other schools on the basis of chronic absenteeism. In fact, in 4-day schools, chronic absenteeism in these 2 years is lower. Next slide, please. We do find a statistically significant difference with satisfactory attendance. And as you'll see, this differs from what the University of Montana has done, is doing, and will present in October, is about the reason for the difference in the studies. They focus on average daily attendance, whereas I take the ESSA variable satisfactory attendance. And what we do see is that in these schools, mainly in that ramp up period, all those new schools that are coming in, it's raising the satisfactory attendance rate overall for those schools. Now, they did take a big hit around in the years immediately following COVID, but they did maintain rates that are higher than the other 5-day schools. Next slide, please. So U of M is conducting the study on the basis of average daily attendance. They did find mixed results, but I find that their findings are complex in the context of 4-day schooling, and will be interesting to look at once they come out in October. And I'll open it up for questions, and if you have any, Superintendent, let me know.
For sure. Anyone have any questions of Dr. Clausen? So just to reiterate, there are 2 studies that are going on right now, and we have also used part of our ESSER dollars to give to the University of Montana in regard to the 4-day work week, or school week, I should say, work week, homework week for kids. But in the slides that you showed here, very simply, just to reiterate again, Robin, that if there's a 4-day week and you've got 2 definitions of attendance, there's satisfactory that follows with the federal law, and then there is another definition. Could you just expound on that a little bit?
Yeah, average daily attendance is the more traditional way of analyzing an attendance. It's based on days absent versus days enrolled within a school. They have been taking that approach, whereas how things are used in the chronic absenteeism calculation and in the satisfactory attendance calculation can be different, and just based on how the measure is constructed, and that leads to us, at least in the last 2 years, seeing some positive results. Now, that really needs to be couched in the fact that there's 100 more schools since 2020 that are 4-day schools. So those schools coming in may have boosted up the attendance rate during that period versus prior.
Excellent, excellent. Any questions you might have of Dr. Clausen? More to come on this, and the slides that were presented today will also come out to you, concluding this meeting. I also want to share that we have a partnership with MSU on ESSER as well. This is with Dr. Urban and their economics department there at MSU. And this is regarding the uses of the ESSER dollars, how they were used, when they were used, and where they were used. So that information will be coming out this fall as well. But I believe research is a great understanding of past to understand what our future path can be. Robin, thank you. We'll talk again, I'm sure, and we'll have you on Education Advocates. Let's go ahead and move into number 6 then, and this is the school finance rule change. We have Rick Wooten, who is one of our attorneys here at the office. Mr. Wooten.
Yes, thank you, Superintendent. Good morning, everyone. We're still in the public comment time frame for the proposed rules, so this is going to be more of a timing update for everyone. OPI first published proposed rules to implement House Bills 171 and 203. We published them in early July and set a public hearing date to take comments on July 29th. I was the hearings officer presiding over that, so I will take full responsibility for the fact that our Zoom link didn't work. So while we were able to take some public comment, some of the public was frustrated and unable to attend. Because of that, we republished a notice extending the time period, and we will now reconvene that time for public comment on August 30th. That's a week from Friday. And the Zoom link will work this time. And of course, people can attend in person as well. We've already gotten quite a few public comments submitted, and we look forward to getting more and considering and acting all those as soon as the public comment period ends, which that also ends at 5 p.m. on Friday, August 30th. So that's the timing update. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them.
Rick, if you could give the short title of those two bills, that might give a little bit more information.
Okay, sorry, I don't have that in front of me. I apologize. If you want me to, if you want to move on, and I'll get that and update it here in a minute after somebody
And
else
perfect.
starts.
We'll come back to you then as well within that. But if I'm understanding you, we've got we had technology. That's why I loved working in a fifth grade classroom, because I could hand it to one of my fifth graders and they could easily fix the technology that was there. We don't employ fifth graders here at the Office of Public Instruction. So we went ahead and we extended the period of time for public comment because of that technology snafu. So Rick, we'll come back to you within that. And let's go on to number 7, which is Education Savings Account Update. Whitney.
Hi, thank you, Superintendent. Yes, as you know, the Education Savings Program is available to Montana families. It's to provide more flexibility for our child's education. And so applications for this program actually went live on our ESA website on May 1st and ran through till June 1st. And we actually had a really good turnaround for that. We had 45 applications total. And out of those 43, we had 23 that met and were approved fully for the program. So on June 28th, we sent contracts out to all of our families, and we received 19 signed contracts back. So we actually have 19 students enrolled in our program. So we are keeping these families as updated as possible about the Education Savings Program and any updates that we have. So, and we sent out reimbursement information to families on July 11th, which provided them with information on how to fill out the reimbursement form on our website, how to submit W-9 information back to OPI so we can set them up in our payment system. And we actually have this outlined really well on our ESA website. We have the reimbursement request form out there. We have the instructions and also a list of allowable reimbursement items for those families. And we also uploaded a mileage reimbursement form as well. So families that are taking their children to therapies can start claiming mileage reimbursement for them. And so let's see. We also sent out a newsletter, an August newsletter to our families, which provided them with more information and a few reminders of what steps they still need to take, because I am still waiting for some W-9 information from them. But I also updated them that we will be implementing IntelliGrants to OPI, which will be a new payment system and make tracking balances and payments a lot easier for these families. And tomorrow, we are actually hosting a webinar for our families where I'm going to go over the reimbursement form live with them. So if they have any questions on how to fill it out or suggestions on things that need to be changed, we can talk that over. And then I'll also be going over the mileage reimbursement form that's out there and kind of show them how to fill that out as well. And this will be a great opportunity for our families to bring up any questions or outstanding, concerns that they may have. So right now we have 13 reimbursement requests, and we've been meeting as a team frequently to go over those requests to make sure that they're providing all the information that we need. And then we also updated our reimbursement form with a description box so that parents can put in all the necessary information to give us so that we know what we're approving when we're looking at those requests and what educational, education things they're providing to their students. So district notifications went out on August 8th, and we provided them with the students that they have enrolled in that program. And as well as the payment information and amounts that they need to remit back to OPI. And we're actually hosting a webinar for our districts on Thursday this week. So they'll be able to come bring questions that they have, and we'll be able to review the payment schedule and any coding that they need to use. So that'll be wonderful for them. And then I'll move on to our parent steering committee. So it was brought up during that committee meeting that we need to work on better notifications and flyers. So that's something that I'm going to work with Kira on to provide to families so that if they're struggling with the school districts, we'll be able they can know that there's more options out there for them. So, and then our next meeting is set for September 9th. So any questions on the education savings program?
Whitney, thank you. And I don't know how many times you said the word families, but you really honestly, hit it out of the park. Brand new opportunity here for Montana and for Montana families. But I think it's extremely important that we also recognize our districts, and that's what we are doing. We're making sure that our districts, because they understand the dollar flow, they understand the portal and everything else with that. Having that communication is paramount. But more importantly, having someone new, a new customer, which is families interact with government, is what we have imparted with our family liaison of Kira, who she mentioned, as well as having a steering committee to really recognize their needs as we implement a new program moving forward. And I do know that legislators have put this into play, are hungrily looking to see how this thing is working, and we believe we've done a great job with it. Whitney, thank you. Any questions for Whitney? Wonderful. All right, we've got another new opportunity that came in through legislation. Christy just came from the dentist, so we don't want to keep her on too much, but it's the early literacy update that we've been working on. So Christy, take it away, please.
Absolutely. And I'm going to share my screen here. Give me 1 second there. There you go. Looks like you can see my screen now. So an update on House Bill 352, our Early Literacy Targeted Intervention Act. Schools have the option to provide 3 different intervention programs. I've shared this with you before several times, but we have the classroom-based program, the Jumpstart Summer program, and the home-based program. And this graphic on the screen shows you the ages that are eligible to participate in this program if a district determines that they are eligible for an early literacy targeted intervention. And you can just see this is a great graphic to show you the applicable age levels for the various programs that districts can decide to implement in their schools. And we've gotten some preliminary data from the summer programs, those Jumpstart programs, and we have some preliminary data that shows about 500 students participated in about 12 to 13 districts. Again, that's just preliminary, what we're getting in right now, and we'll have more formalized data to share later on this fall. But we did see a lot of interest in those summer programs. The home-based program, we have requests for almost 1,000 licenses for that home-based program. And so that is moving along very well. We have districts who have eligible students whose families are interested in participating in the home-based program. Waterford was the winner for the RFP for providing that home-based online targeted intervention service for students and families. And for the classroom-based programs, as schools are just getting off the school year is just starting. They're opening those classroom-based programs. And again, we'll have more information on the numbers of those as the data rolls in a few months. So we just won't have that just yet, but we will keep you updated on that data as it comes in. And let me go to the next page here. Our early literacy, just as a recap, it does come with some funding opportunities. So those schools that participated with the Jumpstart program, those eligible students are going to get an additional 0.25 or quarter A and B for the following school year. The classroom program will get, if they are even full or part-time, they will get full A and B for those students that are eligible and enrolled in that classroom program. And then this was the home-based program, the basis for the RFP that was sent out that Waterford then won the contract for this. This is on the first come, first served basis. And like I said, we have about 1,000 licenses already requested, and we do have room for some more. So as students, as districts are still reaching out, we still have some licenses available for interested families and students who are eligible for the program.
So Christy, let me stop you here. It looks like we have Pam has put something into the chat regarding, and I'll just read it. Can a school district still access students to open classroom-based programs?
This assessment window is really April, May, and June, but any new students to a district have that opportunity to be assessed for the program and to be determined eligible for the program.
So if I'm clarifying, then only new enrolled students can have that assessment for that classroom-based program?
Yes, and that is that's the way that we're moving forward with reading that legislation. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Pam, if you have any other questions, reach to Christy. I'm sure you can find her on our website, if not, through a phone call. And Christy, if you could put your email into the chat, anybody else that might have that would be there. So sorry to interrupt. Let's see what else we got.
No problem. And thank you, Pam. Absolutely. I'll pop my email in here as soon as I finish up. And then another, our two early literacy specialists, Jackie Ronning and Kimberly Evans, are hosting an early literacy learning series just to help schools with implementation of these classroom-based programs. And they've started the first one on August 14th. They have the others outlined here on the slide in front of you going through December. These are 2-hour opportunities for professional development that you can receive. Your teachers or administrators who join in can receive renewal units for these. And there's a register now button that's right on our homepage with the early literacy. I will put that in the chat too. And Brian will follow up with this information. Will be in Brian's follow-up email to all of you from this. And this has been just a great support for schools as they're opening these early literacy classrooms this fall. Any other questions?
Thank you, Christy. All right, working hard, making sure that our school doors are opening with as many tools as possible. So we'll move on to the next one with Christy. This is the content standards revision. Remember, we have 11 teaching and learning standards in our state. We recommend to the Board of Public Ed, and our procedures have been fabulous with input from our Montana teachers and our experts that work within this world. So we look at a P20. So this is from early literacy, early math, all of them, all the way through to our post-secondary partners. So Christy, let's talk about content standards.
Exactly. And we're in often a constant cycle of revisions of our content standards. And for the updates, we've recently updated the world languages. They have been approved by the Board of Public Education, and they'll be moving forward to implementation. For mathematics, it will be an action item at the upcoming September Board of Public Education meeting. We will, once that action is taken, we will be sending out an economic impact survey. So please keep an eye on your inboxes for the economic impact survey for mathematics. This will be important information for us at the Office of Public Instruction to be able to share with the Board of Public Education and the Education Interim Committee at the legislature. We share this economic impact, so we want the responses from you to see how these new standards may impact you from a cost and time perspective. So please keep your eye out for that. We need as many responses as we can to get a really robust understanding of any potential impact on the changes to these mathematics standards. And then English Language Arts is currently in the revision stage. We had our, it seemed like it's skipping a slide here. We have our English Language Arts Task Force. You can see the group here. They met this summer here at the Capitol and worked, just spent some wonderful days together working to draft some revisions to the English Language Arts content standards. Then we will be moving from their writing. We have review teams and reconciliation teams that look at their work, and then that comes back to the superintendent for the superintendent to review. And then in September to November, you can see that we'll be planning those negotiated rulemaking committee to do the final review of these revisions to these English Language Arts content standards. And as I go forward here, you can see this process on there's a timeline here on our website. It's on our main page, content standards, and you can find the English Language Arts updates. And we are still looking for a few roles for our negotiated rulemaking committee. You can see we're still looking for a school district trustee, school business official, and a Montana Indian tribe representative. So if you know anyone who's interested in participating in this negotiated rulemaking committee, please have them apply, reach out to our team. We can get the link again. It will be included in our follow-up email for you, but we're really interested in, we need to fill these roles for this negotiated rulemaking committee meeting this fall for the English Language Arts standards. And then beyond that, that is wrapping that up. And there's a look at that team again. Are there any questions about content standards revisions?
Thank you, Christy. A great work. One of the things that we're also innovating, of course, is our assessment. And our assessment model, we're the only state in the nation that the federal government has agreed to with this wonderful innovation, is a TESLET model, 4 in the math and 5 in the reading, closest to when the skill is being taught. And it's based on our standards. So the standard revision for teachers to recognize what the state then is prioritizing in math and reading and all the other standards is paramount. The other aspect of this is our revision teams and all of our standards have really, really put their heart into Indian education for all. Again, we are the only state in the nation that has that robust constitution that recognizes not just the historical past, but also our future. And very, very pleased that our teams have been working together on this. So more will happen on this. But Rick, I want to end the meeting with you or any other questions that we might have from anybody that has come. I see we have hands up. So let me go ahead and have Rick share with us what the hearings are about, and then we'll move into questions. Thank you,
Yeah.
Rick.
Thank you, Superintendent. Sorry I didn't have those short titles available earlier. The two bills we're implementing are House Bill 171 and House Bill 203. House Bill 171 is titled Revise Education Laws Related to Residential Treatment Facilities. House Bill 203 is titled Generally Revise Education Laws to Enhance Educational Opportunities. And both of them impact school finance, which is why this was identified as rulemaking relative to school finance. So I hope that answers it for people.
It does. Any questions for Rick? And might be with the hands up. Just to let you know, our Montana Hope Initiative for health, mental health specifically, that was one of the reactions to one of these bills, is to extend the licenses to providers. And we have 2 new providers in this arena for in-state treatment. And the license does not come through the Office of Public Instruction. It is housed in the Department of the Health and Human Services, DPHHS. But there is an overlap as students transfer because our Constitution demands that educational opportunities go out through the lifespan of a student, wherever they may be learning. That is one. And the other one, Rick, if you want to give a little bit more information.
I'm sorry, I'm not ready.
The other one, the other educational opportunity.
To generally enhance them, it has a lot to do with, I'm still wrapping my arms around it as we take in all the updates, but it has to do with out-of-district attendance agreements, among other things. It's covers a lot of various things, but our rules, if anybody has any more questions about them, the proposed rules are out there and they
Yes.
spell it out very well. I'm
They
sorry,
do.
I can't, I'm not ready to go into more detail this morning. I apologize for that.
I appreciate that. No apologies necessary. It is an opportunity for choice, for families for choice, for school districts to offer choice as well. And another piece of legislation that this 2023 legislative cycle added to our communities. So there is information that is available. We are taking public comment. And Rick, it closes on Friday, you say?
Yes, the hearing will begin at 10 a.m. on Friday, August 30th.
Wonderful.
The public comment to get it to us in email or other written form is 5 p.m. the same day.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Rick. Let's go to some questions. Angela, how can we help?
Hi, Madam Superintendent. Hi, everyone. Great to see you all. Christy, thanks for the great report just now on the standards. My question is specific to the math standards, and I was just wondering if you can tell me what the anticipated board action on those would look like for September.
Well, and I see McCall on here, so McCall might know, but I think it's their, would be accepting them to be moving forward into their public comment process would be the action that they'll be taking. They've spent a couple of their board meetings reviewing because the math standards are, the high school standards had a lot of change, and there were just so many standards to look at. So they did divide that review time up over a couple of their meetings. So they'll be reviewing those for moving on into their public comment process.
Thank you.
Thank you, Angela. Good to see you. McCall.
Thanks. I just want to make a clarification on the world language standards and then ask a question on the economic impact statement for math. So for world language, I just want to note that the board hasn't approved anything yet. They're out in the rulemaking process right now. So at the last board meeting, the board did approve the notice of the notice of proposed rulemaking. It's still in the public comment phase, so folks can make comment up until September 6th. The public hearing date is September 4th. The board won't finally approve those until January, and it has to do with that last quarter before a legislative session and approving any rules. So I just didn't want anyone to think that the board's approved those because they won't actually approve those until January. And then for the math timeline, Angela, the board will go out for public comment at the September meeting. We'll also have a timeline in our packet for that. So you'll be able to see when the public comment, public hearing is, when the deadline is, all of those things. That'll all be sort of up for public consumption at our September meeting. Again, those ones also won't be finally approved until January.
Yeah,
and then just a quick question. Oh, sorry. Did you have a question?
I really
Angela?
appreciate that. Thank you.
And then just a quick question. So at the last two board meetings, Office of Public Instruction has reviewed the economic impact statement, or at least it's been part of our packet. So I'm just wondering if you're looking to add to that, or if there's going to be a new economic impact statement, because we have to submit that to the legislature. So I'm just wondering what we should expect a timeline for that.
Christine, it's Julie, I can take that
Yeah.
question. So McCall, yes, we didn't get a lot of information back on that economic impact statement for mathematics. And given some of the significant changes in the high school, we felt it was important to go back out again for some additional comments to really be sure that our districts have had the opportunity. And now that the summer's closing and our school districts officials are back in schools, we really do want to go back out again and get a better understanding, in particular around what the potential impact would be in high school. And so we do want to add to the one. And so we are going to be putting out comment here in the next few weeks. So we anticipate that we would be adding some information to that particular piece, bringing that forward to the board, probably in November. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. I think that makes sense because I do know the budget committee has another meeting in December, so we have time to send that to them by that date. So I think that sounds great. Thank you for that.
Yep, thank you. And McCall, the last time we were at interim, they had asked for us to, consider when we get such a low response rate, to try to do a couple of extra efforts and pivot a little bit. So just that was also, I think, part of the reason for wanting to extend that. Thanks.
Thank you all. Very much robust discussion today. Appreciate everyone's attendance to this. It was a very good meeting. I want to go back to the initial aspect. School doors are opening. Want to thank our partner that we have here with Donors Choose. It's open. The portal is open right now. Let's support our teachers as they enter a brand new school year with smiles and embracing our students across our state. So with all of you, I thank you for putting our Montana students first, and blessings to you as we work forward. Thank you.